Mann, leading EMIY, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIY TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. We done moved the time on y'all. Woo! You don't watch us, we move quick. Right? So we had to move the time to 4 o'clock. Because we are in mentoring. This is our session. This is our time. And so we still wanted to keep the show rolling. And we in the building. Shout out to my man L. Getting it in.
Yeah, we here.
And we gonna do a little something today. First of all, let me tell you, this weekend was explosive. Had a great weekend. Saturday, my son's anniversary, his mom's birthday, and the dropping of the Encourage Me, I'm Young song on all platforms, right? Bless you. And my goal for the song is that slowly but surely it gets into the hands of the children. That's why I'm giving it away to school-age children. If you send an email to EMIWorld, go to EMIWorld.com and send a message to us in our contact. We'll get that message and we'll reply the song to you. For school-age children 3 to 18, it is free. We want them to have it, run with it, play with it, do whatever they want to do with it, but it's for the school-age children. It's free. Very, very proud of Encourage Me, I'm Young to date. A lot of people still have no idea about who we are, what we've been doing, what we've been up to. But to just give you a throwback on the whole EMIY process, we go way back. We once interviewed Susan Taylor. We've interviewed the winningest debate coach, Brother Thomas out of, Texas Southern University. And we interviewed college coaches, and we're still here. People fell off, dropped off, jumped, did whatever. We are still here. EMIY has also impacted over 20,000 youth since 2007. I personally have been involved with male mentoring and boys and girls and youth since I was the age of 20, so it's 36 years. I've been involved with changing the lives, redirecting, showing, and guiding. Bless you. We put together the Encourage Me, I'm Young song in my man's house, Clarence Barber, and we put together the song. We had it. Then it came to them, right, to put it out, and we were blessed. And, I used my own chips, right, because I thought it was important, and doing the song and really getting it out there and putting it out there. So we had some advice to redo it. So I redid it, and I've been singing my whole life, so a lot of people don't know I've did hooks for Mike Shorey, Trick, Regina Bell. I've been on CDs. One of my hooks got Vicious, his deal. Then been in the room with Jay Leno and a bunch of people, but that has no bearing on the work that I and EMIY has continued to do in making a change in the lives of people who have lost everything. And this song, when you see it, October 7th will be the official video release. We shot video in Woodlawn Cemetery. We shot video where my niece was murdered. We shot video where the 15-year-old boy was killed by his dad. And we shot video where the 5-year-old girl was murdered and set on fire off of Lawson and wherever. That's just a few. I got a number of stories involving youth and murder and death. And this past September, we spent the time kicking off the Smash Suicide campaign. Last year, it continued. This September, we did the 10,000 gifts of encouragement. And, you know, I guess we're not the most popular people, right? Right? We're not the most popular people, but, you know, we work. We work for the Lord. That's where we are. And just excited about where this song is headed and where it's going, right? And also excited about this mentoring session because our fall session is usually our small session. And, you know, I want to touch on this one point. I'm always blown away when children get to make their own decisions. Like, that blows me away. If I got to make my own decisions, you know, I'd probably be chilling too playing a video game. You know what I mean? Because usually when you give a boy an opportunity or you give him a choice, right, he's going to choose the chill. Why? Because he has a video game. It's the babysitter. He chilling in the crib. It blows me away when I'm asked to ask a child, does he want to be in the program? That really shocks me, right? And, you know, we're allowing him to make those decisions. So when he gets to high school, he'll be able to make those same decisions. So don't change, right? And because you don't change, what happens is then when he gets to become a grown man, he gets to make those same decisions, right? And I was having this discussion with my kids, and even my daughter admitted being able to make my own decisions was not a good choice. I'm not going to let my kids do it, right? That was a big contention in our household, right? Because for the boy, we going to do this. It was always something. It's always a sabotage, right? And our boys need to become men, need to become husbands, need to become fathers. And then we'll talk about the men, oh, they don't want to do nothing. But these are the same men, right? Young boys, right? When they were young boys, got to make their own decisions because we called them kings. And you're making a great decision to sit on your ass and not do nothing and play this video game. And then you do this and you do that, or you get attention where I'm going to take a break and things like that. And our boys need to be active, right? And we seem to think that the only thing and the only people that can be active are our girls. And it shows. So, you know, I'm really blown away by that. I've seen it, heard it, watched it, and so I wanted to get that off my chest. But today, we're going to talk about men who are abused. This is October Domestic Violence Month. And we're going to talk about men who are abused. We know the domestic violence. I cannot stand it. I'm always blown away when I see domestic violence. Men putting their hands on their women, you got to stop. Keep your hands to yourself. Can't put your hands on the women. There's too many laws against you. You can't win. All you can do is run and hide. And when you run and hide, you're going to keep making bad decisions. Leave women alone. Do not put your hands on a woman, right? And the same token, women, keep your hands off these men. They are 2 times stronger, and you don't want to agitate them right now. Right now, we are on 1,000. And we need to understand, we can't nitpick, slap a man, think he's supposed to take it. We can't do none of that, right? But I recently, over the last few years, I noticed the uptick in men and domestic violence, right? You know, really, because a man is constantly told never to hit a woman. In some cases, a lot of men never do. And the girl or the woman slaps them, right? Intimidates them, right? Threatens them with their brothers and cousins, right? That whole dynamic, that whole shake, right? Look at if you just really get into that part, it plays a part in a murderous city. Like, we are a murderous city. We are a murderous state. You know, we got 6 to 7 cities on the murder list. We're a murderous state. Michigan is a murderous state. You know, we crack jokes and call it the murder mitten, and right? Mm-hmm. And we kind of brag about these things, but these are our words, right? And I'm blown away when you pick up the murder list and you see the different cities, right? And a lot of them poverty, black, jobless, low reading levels, right? A lot of these things, you know, play, you know, we know the system plays a part, but I want to talk about what we're in control of, right? And so, man, domestic violence, men being slapped, picked, kicked, punched, blackmailed, in a number of ways. So here are some signs, right, that, we could get into. You might be, and this is men and women, but, excuse me, preferably men. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner calls you names, insults you, or puts you down. We notorious. Boy, bye. Bitch, please. We got names that we put on shirts. Man, just look at this. It's just incredible how we can't be surprised by the violence because of our intake, right? Mm-hmm. Our intake and the message of our intake is very, very serious, right? Let's get into the next one. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner prevents you from going to work or school. Bullying. Adult bullying. I'm going to take your keys. I'm going to play with you. Right? Now you're late for work. So now you're playing with the money, right? And this world is most definitely drawn to money, right? So, yeah. You might be experiencing domestic violence if it prevents you, right? You got a bruise on your face, sister. You got a bruise. You got to bust a lip, bro. Where'd that come from, right? We got to keep our hands. We got to upgrade our vocabulary so we can have conversations that don't end in violence, right? You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner stops you from seeing family members or friends. Woo! I can't tell you.
I know a whole bunch of people in that situation.
Man, I can't tell you.
They just disappear.
Completely. Completely. And you like, well, no, I ain't coming up right because we be talking how we hate that family stuff. Mm-hmm. I hate my family, right? We be done put that in an abuser's repertoire. Oh, so you don't like your family? Oh, well, you ain't got to go. Well, they hate me, right? And you got that dynamic because then you got, man, we got stories on that one. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner stops you from seeing family members or friends. Man. And some of that is self-inflicted because you be done said all this bad stuff about your family that you just drift.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so then when somebody in trouble, you ain't calling your family because you already put up all the roadblocks, all the words, everything over there that prevents you from even crossing your own words because you done told all these lies. Now you got to count on other people. And so when you're talking to other people, you're telling other people these lies about, oh, yeah, my family, they don't come through, this, that, and the other. Oh, yeah, my family, right? And so now you done put yourself in an abusive situation or your children.
Right.
In a oppressive situation, which means now they don't even believe in a circle of family who might be loving and caring. But you've been told, based on this emotion, that your family, they don't care. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner tries to control how you spend money, where you go, and what you wear. Oh, yeah. Take that off. Go. You better not go out. Did not.
Go change right now. I don't like
change.
that.
Yeah. Look at you.
You think I'm gonna go somewhere with you looking like that?
Right. Yeah. You look like a bum. With your broke ass. Take your broke ass back in. Oh, yeah. Look at you. You're a tramp, right? All these words, right, that play out in domestic violence, right? You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner acts jealous or possessive or constantly accuses you of being unfaithful. That one, I always say, if you're accusing someone of being unfaithful, usually you're the unfaithful one, right? Because you already experienced it, you know it, you act it out continuously, although you might just be insecure I found that if this is something that you throw up all the time, I got to question you. And we can run it because the numbers, they coexist with 43% of kids not being the biological father in the household. So part of that is right there. So that fits, because I'm always accusing you, driving up, pulling up where you at the whole nine, right? Remember, they cheat better. We don't, right? All of that mess, right? That's an issue. And so now you have that on the table, and I'm just trying to love you, right? Some people don't get it off. Coming out of old relationships and carried over into a new relationship. And that is, I'm always say, you should give yourself a break. Take a break, all right? Give yourself a break in between relationships. It's very, very important. Get yourself together. Start loving yourself better. I was just having this conversation with my daughter. Listen, when a child is born, your daddy got you. You know what I mean? It's a boy. You got brothers, uncles, cousins. We got you. You will have time to get yourself together all the way. The only thing I ask you is love yourself better. That's it. Because the better you love yourself and better decisions you're going to make, the higher you're going to go up. So love yourself better, baby. Right? You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner gets angry when drinking alcohol or using drugs. Yeah, you somebody else when you blow. You're like, oh, yeah. Hey. Ooh. What you been drinking? Oh, I got that dark up in me today. I'm going to be a monster. You see what I'm saying? We give ourselves a bunch of excuses, right? But that alcohol plays a major, 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 major part in foolishness. We are 100 and some liquor stores over the maximum in the city of Detroit. We got liquor everywhere. We got liquor for 3 million people, and in the meanwhile, there's only 600,000 people. So decision making is flawed. We run red lights. We crash our cars and pull off and drive away. We get high in open, public, intoxicated places, jump in our car, blow, knowing we shouldn't be drinking and driving, and hit and kill someone, right? We're running red lights, jumping stop signs, killing kids, hitting people on motorcycles, running people over. We're crashing into trucks. We're bashing into stop signs. We're banging into restaurant signs. We're going around. We're hitting people on wheelchairs. These are all things that are happening. We're having spinouts, shootouts on the freeway. We're killing each other for what? $45, $65. We devalue our own life, and then we turn around to racism and ask racism, please value me. I just need you to value me. The whole world, the enemy is watching you do these acts, but alcohol is right in the center. I'll never forget the story. Standing in the backyard of Kwame Kilpatrick's backyard, called them out. I called them all out. We're 140 liquor store. What the fuck y'all doing? Excuse my language. What y'all doing with these liquor stores? Nothing? Oh, man, y'all on. I'm out of here. Oh, no, brother. Yeah, I'm out of here. Right? Because we don't want to answer that. Right? Let's turn up. Well, let's turn up on some results. Right? Let's turn up on some real solutions. Let's turn up on preventing what is happening to our children, to our families, to each other. Let's prevent domestic violence. Let's prevent putting our hands on each other. How about we sit down and just have this conversation and walk our way and talk our way and seek some other help and tools to get through these situations instead of getting blowed and getting high, dropping our kids off at school. They high, get out the car, the kid blowed, the kid goes up to the school say you smell like weed, you got to go get back in the car, and then you come running and talking. I sat in my son's middle school, I'll never forget this, and the mother and the father came in and had the whole office bumping. They didn't have nothing, no standard, no integrity. Just because I get high don't mean not right. I'm in this for my kid. We ain't embarrassing or nothing. So why would a child have respect for adults when you don't have no respect for the adults? Now, right? So domestic violence is through the roof. Here's some of the other causes. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner tries to control whether you can see a health care provider. I beat your tail. I just scratched you. I just bruised you. Right. You sleeping, she bust you over the head. My man was sleeping, he got cracked over the head. Right? So you sleeping, you get bust over the head. Baby, don't go to the doctor. They gonna ask you. Don't go to emergency. They're going to ask you. Dudes putting their hand, man, listen. Putting your hands on a woman does not make you a man. Putting your hands on a man does not make you a woman. If you abusing somebody, I just cannot understand. Man, I ain't hit a woman since my sister. I was 10. She was 10. I was 11 or 12. I ain't hit a woman since. I cried when I hit her. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, it shocked me. Oh, right. But I was young, right? And I thought, you know, we brothers and sisters we grew up thumping. You know what I mean? We in the house, it's boys and girls. Like we grew up thumping, right? So if we fight each other and the hood, right? This is what we was doing. This is how things were for us, right? But we grew up and never hit her again. Never hit another woman. Never did anything like that. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner, and just on that healthcare piece, can you imagine, right? They did a study on the rape kits. How many women, because they were abused, wouldn't say who the rapist was?
Yeah.
Oh, the majority of these sisters being raped, right? The rape kits, 80-some% was sisters. Dude, we out here, man. So you got to reap all that. So, whew, man, just that triggered that, right? You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner threatens you with violence or a weapon. The first time should be the last time. Anybody that thinks like that or pulls that should never have another chance to even talk to you, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, right? If you threaten, if you telling me you put your hands on me, right? You threatening me, nah. With violence or a weapon, like for real? Come on. Nah. That's over with. See, that's over with. That's a whole nother conversation. That's your last time. That's your last time, right? Yeah. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner hits, kicks, shoves, slaps, chokes, otherwise hurts you, your children, or your pets. Now, you know, I don't know about the pet thing, right? But that's hits, kicks, shoves, slaps, chokes, otherwise hurt you. So with the new domestic violence with men accept this, right? Men are accepting it, and psychologically is it damaging them as well. So now we done took domestic violence, and now both. And probably for years, men were being abused and just accepted it, right? And then went out and acted out in other ways. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a huge dynamic. Hits, kicks, shoves, slaps, chokes, otherwise hurt you, your children, or your pets. Man, how many times have we watched the news? Dude was babysitting, and the baby came up hurt, dead, killed. How many times we seen that? Child at a daycare center, dying at a daycare center, right? Like, how many times have we seen that? Like, for me, on this journey, it's been incredible watching the ways people die. See, I can talk about it. I can talk about it till I'm blue, pink, red, or orange in the face, right? I could talk about it, right? Because part of that piece is, right, so I've been laying shirts with kids was getting killed, 2004. What happened? Well, my brother Courtney, his nephew, dudes got put out of a house party, a small house party. These two ignorant, one went one way, and they shot back in the house and killed the 12-year-old. You gone. You're out of here. What got into the decision for you to make that, right? What makes You see what I'm saying? Look at these suicidal decisions that's been made. Like, I've been watching this, right? Man. So that's hits, kicks, shoves, slaps, chokes, otherwise hurt you, your children, or your pets, right? Here's another one. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner forces you to have sex or engage in sexual acts against your will, right? So, of course, somebody will say, hey, that's normal. You know, you know you like that, right? Right? And that's not necessarily true, right? That's not where it's at. Like, so, you know, we say these things to people and project these things. Like, yeah, you come on in here, you know, and you putting no is no. No is no. I remember, you know, for me, no is no. It's no is a rap. Ain't no one changed my mind. No, baby, it's over. No has always been no for me. Nah, we not about to. Now, when I was young, you was like, come on. Remember the old move? Come on, let me put the head in move. Right. Right. But the truth, no. That's it. No is no. It's over. Why? Because I seen enough. I seen enough people go against that in my life. So no has always been no for me. Here's another one. You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner blames you for his or her violent behavior and tells you that you deserve it.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. Blaming you.
You made me do that. See, if you'd have just did.
Yeah. Projection, manipulation.
Man, I remember I had a stalker busting my side door. You made me do this. Man. Monsters. It was like, I was like, wow. For real? And they want to fight. Right? I was like, wow. So they hitting and punching. And I was like, ah. And they shrink down. I pretended like I ran out the front door. I shut the front door like I went out. They went in the side door. Went out the side door. I turned around, locked the side door. I'm in my own crib. Later on, get shot at. Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But I won that victory. I came out on tizzy. Right? You might be experiencing domestic violence if your partner threatens to tell friends, family, colleagues, and community members your sexual orientation or your gender identity. So you know you're down low. I know you down low. I seen you down low.
Mm-hmm.
You bisexual. I'm telling everybody. Don't do that. Yeah, I'm telling the whole world. Telling your mama. I'm going to go over there and tell your mama how you like them. I'm going to go over there and tell your brother, your sister, what you like for me to do to you. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother one. Now, here's, if you're gay, bisexual, transgender, you might also be experiencing domestic violence if you're in a relationship with someone who tells you that authorities won't help a gay, bisexual, or transgender person. Man, we relentless with this control, right?
Yeah.
You might be experiencing, man, tells you that leaving the relationships means you're admitting that gay, bisexual, and transgender relationships are deviant. Here's another one. Justifies abuse by telling you that you're not really gay, bisexual, or transgender. And the last one says that men are naturally violent. So these are just a number of things, rules, standards to abuse, right? Mm-hmm. That has impacted lives for years. Like, I was in Clubhouse and the sister talked about the abusive relationship to the point that, like she was telling her story and how it was such an abusive relationship that he eventually took his own life.
Wow.
Yeah, he eventually took his own life. That it wasn't enough. I done heard so many abuse stories on Clubhouse. It makes me wonder, right? Me and my brother was having a conversation during COVID. It just ain't no telling how many of these kids been abused, be in the house, how many of these women been abused, how many of these men being abused in these houses. This domestic violence thing is real, right? And so, children being abused, I'm going to give out a number for men, right, who, and women can use it as well, as the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 1-800-799-7233. That's U.S. or Canada. It's 1-800-799-7233, right? And so, domestic violence for us is a little different. And, part of it is, some of the things that they tell us, don't take the blame. It's very hard to tell someone who's been blaming themselves for years that don't take the blame. It's very hard for a man not to take the blame. It's very hard for a woman as well. I don't want to minimize that women are abused more than men, right? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to have the conversation that men are abused for men to really understand that some of the issues that they are dealing with just may be abuse, and they don't understand that, right? We'll have a conversation about it. Oh, yeah, man, she be tripping, Oh, yeah, dog. Man, the other day, man, she locked me in the crib, Brother, that's abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's abuse. Now, you still think you a player. That's on you. But just to let you know, it's abuse. When we have these issues of control, that's abuse. I'm abusing you. Even in father's rights, I'm abusing you. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I got this control of your child. I'm controlling you. It's abuse. Because you're putting me in a position that's very uncomfortable. I can respond. I can snap. I can have a mental issue. Right? You know what I mean? I can, and so this is the driving point that I don't think the family court or anybody else really, until it's too late. You have to be conscious. You have to tell men they can't show emotion in court. They gotta, right? Because if he shows emotion in court right away, he's gonna pay. That's crazy, right? So he can't be upset that he being played with his child, right? Another form of abuse, right?
Yeah, so can't.
Right, another form of abuse, right? So sometimes we gotta take a step back, right? So we're gonna give. I'm gonna give you a couple of pointers, as we always do, and anybody that want to call in, you can call in. But here are some things that you might recognize if you're in an abusive relationship. The patterns: your abuser threatens violence, your abuser strikes you, your abuser apologizes, promises to change, and offers gifts. The cycle repeats itself. This is a confession. This is my confession time. This is Cal's confession. When I was younger, I thought, I was always protective of my emotions, my feelings. And I realized that even in my pimping days, well, not pimping days, I shouldn't say pimping, right? Even in my days, right, of womanizing, I guess that's the best way of putting it. That's the truth, right? I use words the wrong way, right? Manipulation, right? You can categorize that somewhat as abuse because I wasn't honest. Mm-hmm. And, it's eye-opening when you realize that you weren't even honest to yourself. I I recognize, man, you know, you hear somebody tell you for the longest, you ain't no good. You're not this. You're not that, right? And you trying to get them lies out your pathway, and all of a sudden you hear yourself say it. That's tough. Very, very tough. Right? So the first thing you have to do is improve yourself. Right? You got to do something to improve yourself. One, stop lying to yourself. Right? You can't get out of your abusive nature. Well, you know, my daddy is in my blood. Go get counseling. Right? Go, right? Let's up the vocabulary. It's what we talking to the boys at the mentoring program. You got to up your vocabulary. What's your vocabulary for your age group? What should you have, right? You know, you're in the 9th grade. Exacerbate should be on your schedule, right? So how do you spell exacerbate? You know what I mean? How do you? We got to upgrade our vocabulary, because vocabulary and languages unlock your cognitive health. You learn another language, it'll unlock cognitive health, which means now you're getting sharper, you're getting smarter, right? You're unlocking some of the riddles in your head. We have a number of people in abusive relationships, they're not really necessarily reading like that. That's another component. Unlock some solutions by reading, picking up a book. I'm big on that. Do you have a book? What book are you reading today? I was just sitting on the chair and I asked the young lady, she couldn't tell me. I was sitting on her chair. All right, I'm getting a haircut. I just needed you to shake me up. She talking all this stuff. Well, sister, what book you read? Oh man, it's been a long time since I read a book. Man, I can't. Man, it's been about 2 years. So you letting something else dictate to you? Is that what you telling me? What you mean? Where'd you get all this information? Someone else was dictating to you. It ain't that you wouldn't got it for yourself. You let YouTube tell you. When YouTube tell you something, research it. Right? Unlock some of these channels so you can have that definition for yourself. You know, I see fatherhood different. I could be in a room and everybody talking fatherhood that way. When I see it different because of the vocabulary, the words, the information that I have, right? So I have a different opinion about fatherhood. I think fatherhood is super, super, super dope, right? And I think as a culture, right, we've let racism and the struggle and things take away. We fell into these patterns. How important fatherhood, right? So the other thing is, domestic violence can leave you anxious and obnoxious. We have to work out. We have to do some push-ups. We got to do some sit-ups. We got to do some walking, right? We got to get, even with counseling, we got to do some exercise and get our minds free, open up them channels and see ourselves better, right? What can I pour in? Okay, so I get all these things off my path. Well, I got it all off my path. Okay. Now that I got my path somewhat clear, because I ain't doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing this, all that's off my path. I got nice, clear view. God can get in. But what I got to do is I got to fill in more information so I can grow toward God. Being a path cutter is tough. When you cutting paths, it's different. And so as you cutting this path, God is down here waiting on you. That means you got to get all this other stuff out the way. You can't, I can't go this way. And you can't judge me if I go this way, right? And that's what we say. Well, you can't judge me. Well, no, let's go this way. Let's go straight ahead. Let's get these things off the path so God can flow in where he's at, so he can deliver those blessings in the sections of your growth where he's already at. But if you got this on the pipe, this on the pipe, this on, you got this, you over here, you menage a trois, you doing this, you at the what's name, you not taking care of this, you over here. So all of those things are happening, and guess who's watching? The kids. Oh, my family, I need to borrow $5. Oh, my Uncle Jimmy gonna give me $5. Your Uncle Jimmy ain't giving me $5 because he's watching your lifestyle. You're not really doing nothing. I give you $5 as a lot. Let me give you $5 because borrowing the $5, I know I ain't never getting it back. So let me go ahead and give you this $5, right? But our relationship can't be, I don't give you nothing. Our relationship can't be just me monetary giving you, right? Same thing. That's abuse. You want me to abuse you? Here, I'm gonna put my hands on you. I'm gonna give you some money, right? Shut up. I'm gonna take your credit card. What you mean? Give me your credit card. You with your soft ass. You so soft. I'm gonna take your credit card, go to the store, buy me this. I'll bring you back. Then I'm gonna go over to my boyfriend's house. You sit your ass right here until I get back. Oh, that's out there.
Yeah.
That's out there. We cannot act like this thing is not real. Domestic violence is very, very real. Remember, the number is 1-800. Let's be clear. It's 1-800-799-7233. We're gonna end that there, right? Because I believe that the case for domestic violence is way bigger than this 1 hour. Like, way bigger, right? And we need to understand that, you know, in case you want some help or whatever, call that domestic violence hotline, right? If you need, you know, some of y'all got my number, hit me. We got counselors on deck, the whole nine. Right. Shout out another father had a victory today in court. We happy for that. We get to see his child on his terms. It's very, very special. That I love getting the stories when men can win time with their children. That's huge. Time, right? But this domestic violence, we really got to seek help in a lot of areas. We have families in trouble, right? And that, too, is connected to fatherhood when you do the research, right? Girls and fatherless domestic violence. Boys and fathers become abusers. I want to talk about the suicide piece real quick because I think it's important. People don't understand that suicide, over 1 million people, almost 1 million people die a year from suicide, right? And the violence doesn't come close, right? As we learned, right? Kevin Fisher reiterates that. Having the information, Kevin Fisher is my man. He is dope. I love Everybody versus Stigma and what he has done in this race for people and families, and so that's just one area, right? But let's look at the adjustments that is made in family dynamics in a good way. When a man fights to see his children, and his children see that dad is fighting to see his child, right? That's a beautiful thing. When the child was convinced against the dad, no matter what the dad does, the control piece, right? When we were talking about abuse, that's abusive. We're harming our children in this game. Divorce occurs or separation occurs, relationship, we're harming our children in this game. I want to see my dad. Well, you can't see your daddy today. You're going to do what I tell you. You're going here, you're going there. After a while, the child gives up too. Yeah. So after so many games, the father gives up. And so you hear, your father should never give up. Right? He's been abused. He's been abused. His child been abused. I'm coming to see you. And listen, this is not to take away from you fathers that don't show up when you say you gonna show up. Show your ass up for your kid. You tell your kid you coming, nothing gets in the way. Be there.
Be there.
You come on. You can't postpone that. Hey man, you ain't getting that time back. And these kids are growing up with blotches on their brains, man, because we've kept their dads away. Like, just think about the violence, right? Let's look at the violence as we close out, right? Let's look at the violence. I grew up in an emotional household, right? Very emotional. And every chance I get or hear, right, I hear my father, he outside yelling and screaming. oh, I can't see my kid. You playing this game? No, you can't take them around, and you can't do this, right? So you got all this control. Where did that control come from? The system. Because the only way that you had that control, really, if the system was about fair parenting, you couldn't talk like that. If the system was about fair parenting, you couldn't abuse the father from seeing his child. You know how many kids had dreams that got stuffed out because we played these games? These kids have dreams. And because you playing this game, we back and forth, that child's dream gets dimmed. That's abuse. That's abuse to the father when the father can't see his kid. It's abuse to the kids when the father don't show up. So domestic violence, it kind of runs deep. We got to get out of these lanes for real, right? But that violence piece, when you look at the numbers, right? But when we talk about suicide, 63% of all suicides come from fathers' homes. Males 5 to 100, number one reason for that, right? That we're number one, 5 to 100, number one in suicide, right? So they're executing themselves, right? 5-year-olds, right? Taking themselves out, right? So when we start getting into the numbers, and when you pull up the numbers on what absent fatherhood is to a household, to its infant mortality, robbery, murder, rape, suicide. This is, if we take the father, let's move him out the way. All of these things become visible. Juvenile. I'm going to get on my horse real quick and then I'm going to get off, right? Paternus. Paternus is a Spanish word for father of the country. It was birthed back during slavery. We were having these kids and white males was having mixed kids, so the court devised this plan, right? It gets even deeper, right? 1899, we then place the first juvenile is birthed in Chicago. Juvenile was supposed to rehab the kid, send the kid home. That was juvenile's original intent. We're going to have this juvenile facility. We're going to rehab the kid, send him home. Right? He comes here for a moment. All of a sudden, now you got tax dollars, you get all these things, another form of prison. 1965, they come up with the Juvenile Act. Why? Because as soon as I displace you, take your father away from you, take food off your table, make sure that you are impoverished, as soon as I do that, what happens? Instant criminal. It's guaranteed we're going to get a few criminals. We're going to break the laws. We're not going to follow the laws. We're going to break the laws, right? So in that case, right, that's 1965. We destabilized. People don't understand how the distable household that we see today was the intent. Let's look at infant mortality. Fathers involved, infant mortality. But we going to solve infant mortality, right, in Detroit. Detroit and Cleveland got high levels of infant mortality. 71, 72% single household. They had infant mortality at alarming rates. You tell me. I got it all wrong. I said sooner or later we got to stop having conversations that's absent of fathers being involved. We got to heal our males because they're the seed carrier. And if we don't do that, if we don't start working at that, if we don't start making sure that's going to be an issue. It's already a major issue. As we are in the murder mitten, we have over 7 cities on the murder list across this nation. And unfortunately, some people think, hey, that's okay. Hey, we yelling and screaming, that's okay. And no one is exempt from murder in this state. There is white murder run amok as well. There's white on white crime, black on black, all that. So
We got a question on YouTube.
what's the question?
Miss Heather Rue checking in says, what are 2 ways that men can break the cycle of being abused? Then how do you avoid becoming an abuser?
The first way, and then Miss Heather Rue, appreciate you. The first way that we can prevent men from being abused is self-improvement. We have to work on ourselves. Before we put ourselves in relationships, we have to clear the path. We have to work on ourselves. So that's one. The other is always seek counseling. When you know you're not right, seek counseling. It's just so important to get a practitioner on the phone and have a conversation with someone who can use their words and their tutelage and their skill to walk you into some solutions to better yourself. And what was the second part of that question?
How do you avoid becoming an abuser?
Woo! I think that those first two, it answers the same thing. That's the best way to do. I have to work on myself. I have to be honest with myself. I have to know that if I'm an abusive person or not. I have to know these things, right? And you have to seek help.
Yeah, I think one of the ways that, as far as on a preventative tip, I think when young boys, when we're young, we gotta start encouraging boys to tell when things are abusive happen to them.
Yep.
Because we tell boys to shut up.
Yep.
We tell boys not to say anything. We tell boys that they little girls and all this other stuff. We're emasculated when we're kids.
Oh yeah, man up.
You know what I'm saying? Don't do that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When we become men and become older, we know right or wrong,
Yep.
but it's taboo for the man to be like, yeah, this woman hitting on me or this woman is doing this. Oh man, you a punk. You can't even handle your woman.
Or I'm being sexually assaulted.
Right.
I got it.
Oh man, you a punk. You can't even handle your woman.
Yeah.
What kind of nigga is you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. So
Yeah.
we gotta get out of that.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways to help break the cycle too.
That's that whole healthy masculinity, right? Healthy masculinity is opening yourself up, sharing, words, making sure that your words are better, using your tools and your information, pouring in different words and options. The healthy masculinity is so important. It's just like you just said, right? We got to be able to talk and share it. I've been touched, right? I've been abused. I was sexually penetrated, right? We got to be able to build that gap, see, because we don't know when we sit them down. That's what I'm saying. I'm letting you make this decision. You don't know if I've been abused or not. So I'm going to let you make this decision. I don't have you up. I don't have you exposed to, right? And so I'm going to let you make this decision. Go ahead. You don't want to do nothing? Go right ahead. That's okay. You can sit right there, right? And now you need to be up as we started this whole conversation. So, yeah, Boog, I agree, man. You got to be able to talk as young kids, to be able to share the information if you're being touched or abused or, you're hungry. Hell, if you're hungry. Right? Because kids is coming in school and they ain't had nothing to eat. Everybody in the house blowed. And they just spent all the food stamp money on weed, getting high.
Yeah.
Right.
We need changes even in schools.
Man.
They ignore boys.
Yep. I had a great conversation this weekend about that. Yes, they ignore boys.
Yeah.
We throw boys away. School, education for sure. It's everywhere. It's clear. You can't look at TV.
But even with like how kids act out because something is going on, the way administrators, the way teachers, and adults in the school setting, the way they respond to the girls versus how they respond to the boys is totally different.
Totally different.
Totally
they throw them in. Like when we had the conversation, as early as daycare, he's done. My man, he asking for a daycare right now in the group, right? But you send him to the wrong daycare. I don't care if it's black or white. I tell him to their face, and I have. I don't care if it's a black or white daycare. That boy is getting kicked out. That black boy, he the first to go. Oh, he got to go, right? Because he don't have the structure, right? The girl has the structure. I made that clear. The in-house role model, the structure, is in the house with the girl. She's the boy. That in-house structure and the role model is not. I pull up dudes be banging unnecessary music in their kids. Get them some vocabulary instead of banging that. Give them a chance. You know what I mean? So, no, I agree with you, brother. We in this. We both in the, and so we see it. We see kids anger. We see a lot of that, man. So that's why we do the work we do. That's why I mentor. No question about it. How can we make a difference? Well, today is officially the last day for you to come into the EMIY program. After this, we're going to close up and we're going to work to finish up strong with these young men. Like I said, I love the fall class because it's small. Excuse me, the fall class because we get to really work on you. So when that spring come, you ready to put that work in. But that fall, yeah, I love this. This the one, because we can really see, and the kids that's in the fall session is really getting a lot of attention toward the things that they need, right? So if it's character, if it's these are things they have to do. So we get a lot done. So yeah, I appreciate that, man. I guess we out of time here, and I just want to leave you with this little bit of message, right? Because I know I'm a male oriented. I'm a man. I'm a mighty good man, right? Right. I've been through it like everybody else, right? But God gave me a vision, and I wanted to make sure that we use our time upon this earth to make a difference, and turning the hearts of the children to the Father, and turning the hearts of the Father to the children, as Malachi 4:6 most definitely have stated. A lot of times we go to church, we forget about those things, right? But if I'm going to be in a church, we're going to talk man. We're going to talk husband. We're going to talk fathers. We're going to talk solutions. And the man, the boy, the husband, the father is the solution. So in order to put your family first, you're going to have to start having a conversation that's inclusive of dad, and not penalizing him. Open the door. Offer him some tools, because that's what we do. So if you're out there, you're a father, you're wayward, and you want to get involved, the Good Fathers Only, we're always looking for men. We bring them in, we rehab them, whatever the case may be. Whatever you need help with, we're here, and we share. And so you can join that movement anytime, right? But the one thing I want you to understand from this day forward, you must do everything to put your family first. And here's why. Every other culture's businesses work with each other. We're all individuals. We're not helping. And we penalize and say family can't do it. We say family doesn't help family. That's a sickness. That's something that's inherently wrong with us, that we're not supporting each other and loving each other. But yet we talk about this and we talk about that because money have become your God. I'm suggesting today that you change that. Turn to your people. Turn to your aunties, uncles, grandfathers, grandmothers. Get the information out of them and love them. My name is Calvin Mann. Please put your family first. We'll see you next Monday. Peace.